Hello, welcome to Country Stitchers. I'm Liz.
Hi guys, I'm Deb.
And we're back within a week. That's the first time we've done that in quite a while. We're actually going to give it a shot. We mentioned that in our last video. We'd like to welcome all of the viewers. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back.
Yes, and thank you.
And at this point, we'd probably like to just visit a little bit with comments from people. And I don't think I actually had any emails to talk about.
Okay.
But
we'll go ahead with...
I did have one. Kathy said that she was looking at your piece from Rosewood Manor, where you pointed out that you were 2 threads off on your one quilt square. And she said, like the saying goes, if you can't spot it on a galloping horse as you go by, it doesn't matter. And I never heard that expression before. I thought that was funny. I thought, shoot, I used to have a horse, and when you're galloping, you're going pretty quick. So I definitely would not have seen that.
I'll take it. Thank you. Oh my. Christy Donnie, she wanted to know about the background story on the Raggedy Ann dolls that are up there in the corner. I think you can see them. They were my mother-in-law's, and she had them. They were made for her, handmade, and she gave them to me a little while ago. And I tried to put them upstairs in the loft where Logan goes up to his room, but he said they were really creepy looking. So he didn't care for them up there. So yes, they were my mother-in-law's, and they were handmade.
And I referenced you, the video on the craft room tour too, because if you hadn't seen those dolls before, you might want to take a look at her craft room tour. That was fun.
Norma Jean Sicard, she wanted to know if we have a certain time of the day that we like to stitch, or do we just stitch when we're in the mood, and do we meet to stitch?
A little of all of the above. I stitch when I'm in the mood.
Okay.
But I do get more stitching done probably on Mondays and Tuesdays because I don't have a lot scheduled for Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay. I stitch when I can. I do not have time to stitch every day, but I'd like to. I mean, I just don't. I don't have time to do it every day, and I always I try to do it first thing in the morning, but I can't because I'm a person who has to get all my work done first and then like reward myself with stitching.
Yep.
So
that Puritan work ethic.
So, and yes, we do try to meet the stitch.
Yeah, we did finally do it this week for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
We got together on Monday, right? Boy, that was weird too because Monday seemed like Thursday to me.
I know. Yeah.
And I was off the rest of the week. I was going to talk about that question we had on evenweave. We were talking last week, and I had said that the highest count I could verify on the information about fabrics we used from Yarn Tree was 36 count evenweave. And then some viewers, several mentioned that there's a 40 count evenweave, and they referenced a couple different local needlework stores. You can find those in the comments. But it's called Verdal, and the only color listed in the shops I looked at and took a gander at where it was showing up white. And then somebody commented that Silkweavers dyes that any color that they do their fabrics with. So that was another source.
I want to try it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what was that, Needle in a Haystack? Is that where a lot of people referenced?
And Traditional Stitches up near the Canadian border was another one.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I'm excited. I want to try it.
We can put the links to those in the drop-down box.
Yeah. Marcia Dixon, she wants to know the name of the blackbird design that we showed that Tina finished. I think we did have the correct name in the drop-down.
Right.
But I had called it the wrong thing on the video. So, and now I can't.
It's Loose Feathers. And it's their series 1 through 3. And just go to the drop-down box and you'll see it. Any place that sells blackbird designs, if you just do a search on Loose Feathers, it'll come up.
Yeah, and it had all three seasons. It didn't have spring. Yes. Melissa Brown, she wanted to know what brand my eyeglasses were. I have no idea. Cheap. I Liz says that's my middle name.
Did I say that? Frugal?
I like to say frugal, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. They were $69. You got 2 pair at, what's that eyeglass place up there in Lancaster?
America's Best?
Yeah, that's all. That's where they're from. So I don't even know what the name brand of them are. Sorry.
You got a shout out from somebody named Kathy, and I think you pronounce your last name Dettori or Detour. She said she was at the Gordonville Mud Sale.
Oh, yeah.
And
That was
I thought,
Saturday.
yeah, so she's got to be
Yeah.
somewhere in our neighborhood, right?
Yeah, the Gordonville Mud Sale is the biggest mud sale around, and I mean huge. In fact, honestly, for me, it was the first time I left a mud sale and we hadn't bought a thing, because there's too many people there, like bidding it up, and some stuff that looked like it actually came from, high-end dealers, and there's just a lot of dealers bidding things up.
Yeah.
I mean, the things I had actually bought 2 weeks before that at the other mud sales were going for 3 and 4 times as much. It was nuts.
Yeah.
It was fun to be there.
Yeah.
It was really fun. And I mean, they even had T-shirts made up. Like, I survived the Gordonville Mud Sale, and it was really neat. It was neat to be there, but I couldn't believe we were walking away. Matt and I said that we're walking away. That was the first time this has happened where
Wow.
we hadn't bought a thing.
Well, I guess from the other perspective, if if a percentage of it goes to the fire department,
I
they're
know
going to be
that.
sitting happy, aren't
No,
they?
oh, that is one happy fire department.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, they even had their own mobile ATM brought in.
No kidding.
They had everything there. It was,
Well, they weren't going to leave anybody with a reason not to buy.
that's right.
Wow.
It was huge, huge. And like I said, it was fun, but didn't have any Deb deals. So. But there's another one this Saturday. So
Where's this one?
there's 2. One in York County and one towards Mannheim.
Okay.
So we might hop mud sales. I'm not sure.
Mud hopping.
Yeah.
We had a question about where to buy Valdani threads.
Mhm.
And I would just suggest, Deb and I know that pretty much the retail price on threads and fabric is generally the same from one local needlework store to another. A couple of them have a bit of a discount. But I would just look up in a search Valdani threads and check out where they're from. Also look to see whether they have them in their inventory or whether they order them for you too, because that'll make a difference.
Yeah.
Some shops carry the full range and some shops order it when you need it. So
Yeah, and I don't know how quickly you need them, but I know one time I saved and I waited until Super Bowl sale at Salty Yarns, because then I could get the whole pack for 30% off. So
Yeah.
if you're not in a hurry,
wait for a sale.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebecca mentioned that there was a technique used on fishing nets
Oh, that was cool.
in the pre-1800s
Yeah.
in Germany. And it was to not only close holes in the nets, but also to add designs that there was an idea that it would ward off things and bring
Yeah.
luck to the fishermen.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Rebecca.
Yeah,
That was interesting.
really cool. Yeah.
And if you could just send me the name of some of those books, I'd love to look them up. I think you had mentioned you didn't have them right there. But that was really interesting to learn about.
Mhm. I thought Sandy Ashton, she saw something on Pinterest that was cute. You know how we talk about storing your old needles, and because Liz can't throw them away.
I broke 2 last night.
Did you?
I did.
You were stitching angry.
No, I was stitching through something hard. I was doing a finish.
She said she saw how to make a hedgehog, and then you use the old needles, the broken needles, as the spines on its back. Isn't that cute?
It is very cute.
That's a cool idea.
Yep.
And then if you glue them into place, you could actually use it for like an ornament for your sewing room.
Yeah.
But that's cute. And then somebody else said they had like a felt cactus kind of thing, and then when you stick the needles in,
Spines.
yeah,
Neat.
looks like the.
Very neat.
That's pretty cool.
Clever.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say hi to Barb from Lost in Floss. She left a comment, and I wanted to say that I did ceramics too. 1972, I think, was when I did my last one. And my twin sister and I used to go to the hobby center where we lived, and we were in the military as dependents, and we would even pour our own molds, use the slip and make our own molds. I can't remember how they priced that. I think it was per mold had a cost to it to rent the mold. Then you bought your slip by the gallon. So we got really good at being able to not use too much.
That was popular for a while, taking ceramics and even having ceramics parties, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Shelly Fry, she is interested in our toilet paper rolls that we were showing our band sampler wrapped on, and she wanted to know if she wanted to make some for her stitching buddy, and she would like to see ours without the sampler on it. So, did you bring yours today?
I did.
You did, okay. And I actually made 2 more this week. I had a paper towel roll, so I just cut it, and I made another short one. It just has buttons on the side and a ribbon down the middle. Just whatever scraps of fabric you have around. This one's actually quilted, and it has buttons
Did you make that one
on the sides. You may have it. And a piece of lace.
I think it's pretty. You did a nice job.
Thanks. Well, you may have it.
Thank you. This is the one that I have mine on. It's this was a cute fabric I got.
That is pretty.
And it had patches of different designs, and this was just one patch that fit the roll.
Yeah, that is pretty.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very cool. Very cool. And I wrapped batting. You wrapped batting around yours too, right? I did wrap some Warm and Natural around it first, and then...
Did you stuff yours?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did stuff mine also with polyfill. And basically then you just, you're pushing in the ends, and I actually took really, really, really big long needle, and when I put my buttons on, I threaded all the way through so I could like pull it tight from one end and then from the other, just to kind of get these guys sucked in there. So
Yep.
that's all I did. And then Liz made this one. She actually made little ribbon ties on the edges. You could finish your edges a gazillion different ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
And all
casings
different
on.
sizes. Yeah, and then like I said, these just have the wooden buttons on that side. So, all right. I got an email from Glinda Olive, and she wanted to know if I had plans to stitch the Jack Frost Tree Farm by Little House Needleworks, and if so, what fabric and or threads would I be using?
It's like a 2-part question.
Yeah, and it's funny because Liz just showed me a picture of it. I had seen only one. I just saw the long, it says Jack Frost Tree Farm. I thought that was the whole design, but there's like 7 different pieces to it. So now that I saw that, I actually do have a really cool idea. I'm not going to stitch it right now or anytime soon, but I think I might because I really like what is up here. So
Can I see?
yeah, here. If you look here, you can see all the way over to there.
Like a little viewfinder.
But the fabric that they call for, though, what is it? Portobello. That's really, really pretty fabric.
is.
Very pretty, and the colors are. I mean, I really do like what they called for. So I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna stitch it on yet. I'll have to wait till the spirit moves me when I go to do it. But it is very pretty, very pretty.
Had a quick question from Jenny about the ballpoint, the ballpoint
needles.
embroidery needles. Those are a size 10, and they're made by John James. So should be able to find them at any place that sells John James needles.
Yep. Do you have any more comments?
No. I think
No?
that's pretty much it. I think Diane Myrie asked a question about your... Is she the one that asked the question about your town?
My town.
About how you set your town up, your Christmas farmhouse.
Oh, I did want to talk about that because when I posted, I always kind of like advertise our new YouTube on Instagram, and so I showed a picture of that piece and the other finish hanging on the wall. I never got so many instant messages about anything. So I did bring it back along for Liz to hold up, and I'm not going to even, I'm going to try to answer all your questions, I hope. But I had people ask me if I charted it, if I, how I decided where to stitch what. So there were 8 charts that I knew I wanted to use. The only chart I didn't use was the quilt. So I know
This
from
is sort of like I mentioned once,
sorry, Liz.
how Deb colors with her needle. She sort of does that when she's putting these together.
Yeah. I wasn't quite sure in the beginning exactly how it was going to be laid out, but I knew it would come to me as I saw it. So what we did do so that I made sure I had enough fabric is, again, you want to make sure you have your stitch count for the height, because all of these patterns were pretty much exactly the same. So stitch count on height, and then for the width, add them all together, and then of course add a few extra inches on either side. I knew though that I wasn't going to stitch them exactly as they were shown on the chart. So I wanted to start with this house first. Go ahead and put this house there. I knew I wanted the truck in there. The tree was not part of the design. And I had a couple questions on, well, what chart did I use for the tree? I didn't use a chart for the tree. I just saw it. And I just stitched it in there. There was a tin ornament hanging on my Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
I took it down and I set it next to me, and it was a truck with a tree in it. And I just stitched the tree in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, can't tell you where to get that from, but I just kind of laid it in there and messed around with it. The snow is a half stitch or a tent stitch, however you want to say that. It is done with 3 threads, and we have our colors listed on the drop down of our last video or the one before that. I'm not sure.
No, the last one where you showed this, yeah.
So that is just a tent stitch, and I kind of just filled in the snow where I wanted it. I knew I changed some of the roofs because I didn't want snow on the roof. I wanted it to kind of look like it had snowed at one point, but it was all melting. So I just kind of stuck snow wherever. These fences where they kind of go up on the sides, again, I just wanted it to look like it was more of a corral here for the sheep, and kind of going uphill. So that's why I brought the fence up here on the sides. I put in extra trees. I stuck in extra little fences. This house is much smaller, so that's why I wanted it in the background, because then I thought that helped give it some depth. You know, this guy looks further away. People were asking where or why or like what I decided to stitch over one. I did decide to stitch the sheep over one because I wanted them to be, I don't know, size appropriate kind of thing. And also the people are stitched over one. And again, same thing. I wanted them to actually look like they would fit in the doors of these houses that I was stitching. The wagon.
She does that to give dimension and to make the scale of the people to the size scale of the house.
Yes, and then his pitchfork, the dog, and the wagon with the trees in it. This is all over one here. This birdhouse right here is over one. Hank is over one. The horse back here is over one. Again, this was part of one of the designs, and I didn't want to make my farm any longer, so what I did was I just figured out exactly how many stitches I was going to have here between the fence and the horse, and counted it out to make sure that I was going to have enough room so that hopefully pretty much, you know, it's not exact the whole way along the top, and that's okay, but you just wanted it to look even on both sides. I'm trying to think if I answered everybody's question. I hope I did. I did add extra trees here and there. Like I said, extra snow. I hope that answers everybody's question. There's also a little birdie I put here on the fence, and he's over one. So I hope that answers everybody's question.
I think you did a good explanation of how you set that up.
I kind of just see it as I'm going,
and I think there's something to be said here too. There's like 3 different versions of a stitcher, if you will, when you're looking at something like that. There's a new or novice stitcher who is pretty intent on learning to follow the pattern and use the called for threads and fabric and getting comfortable with the whole concept of stitching, then you have an advanced stitcher who has stitched quite a few different designs, and they're used to doing petite stitch or over one and also over two threads, and they can start to see the difference in how those are used in pieces. And then you have what I would call a much more advanced or an expert stitcher who then takes patterns and designs and ideas and can completely reformat or redesign something using the artist's concept, who originally designed it. And so if you're not seeing what Deb sees when she sets that out and says, oh, I just saw it, give yourself time to become familiar with needlework if you're new to it. And then there are people who don't have a natural talent for art, like me, who look to people who do for those kinds of ideas. So it's kind of just where you are on the spectrum. And it doesn't eliminate you from doing it. You just have to use a little bit more resource to get it to happen.
Well, hopefully that answered everybody's questions.
I think you did. We had last week talked about the finish I did on Little House Needlework Lavender Hill and the Impy Hattie and Bee project bag. And we had some comments about those bags and other patterns, and I did have one other one tucked away. I'm using it for a hands-on design pattern.
This is pretty.
This is Kathy's pomegranate pocket, and it's also got a pin cushion with it there. Now she made this pocket using fabric, and the finishing instructions are inside, but when I saw it, I had seen this bag by Impy Hattie and Bee, and I just thought that the color would go perfect on here. When you open this one, it's a pocket that you can actually put a small pattern inside, and it's got the needle felt to park your needles in, and I like the inside design as well. And so I'm working on a piece which is the actual pomegranate pattern, and I'm going to inlay or overlay that onto the top of this bag instead of creating my own pocket. So I'm eliminating the finish work to make the pocket.
That's a pretty pattern.
So that's what's going to go in place of her pocket. I'm using that one.
And what fabric is that?
That's Aztec Red. This is my nemesis.
Yeah.
30 count. And really loose weave. You can see through that. Look at that. Here she doesn't even disappear. You can see me through the fabric. I had started doing it by hand, thinking I could stitch this in hand, and I do not like the lay of my threads. So this got kind of set aside. That's why it was still in the bin.
Aww.
So this is going to come out. We're going to start over again on that hardwood hoop I got.
Okay, good.
And I'm going to use a frame for that. Cause,
coming out of timeout.
Yep, it is. It's timeout. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Bad.
Bad project.
And then you'd been chatting about burst samplers, and I ran across this one.
This is cute.
It is kind of adorable. It's by Trilogy, and it's just a little diaper.
That's cute.
And it's called Bundle of Joy. Oh. And I had stitched this. I have to do another one for my granddaughters.
Yeah, you got twins.
Yep.
Aww.
And then it'll have their information on it. But it's so cute. And it's a quick stitch. There's nothing to it. And then they had a special little embellishment. The little safety pin was an embellishment. But this pattern, once you use it, you use the embellishment. So I just use a regular safety pin.
Well, I was going to say.
I just pin it
they
on
even
there.
have colored safety pins.
Yes.
Pink, blue.
I saw those actually just yesterday at Joann's in the, what is it, the scrapbooking section. I think I saw them hanging.
Yeah.
And they even have a cute little bend to them. I thought they'd be adorable. So that's funny
cute.
that you brought that up.
Yeah, that's really cute. Debbie Ginger, she wanted to know where I found my Jenny Bean sampler pattern. she was having trouble finding it. Liz got me this when we went to Stitches Unlimited before Christmas. And you were probably having trouble finding it because I think I forgot to say that it's by Shakespeare's Peddler. It is called Jenny Bean's Friendship Sampler, but it's by Shakespeare's Peddler. So maybe that's why. Because Deb didn't give you all the information you needed. That's why. My fault.
And I do know that's also available on Jen's Stitching Itch on Etsy. She carries that too.
This is designer Kitten Stitcher. So,
Yep.
Shakespeare's Peddler. So, all right.
I had, this is what happens when I go in the bins for things. We'd been looking at Hannah Rendale's artwork a couple videos ago, and it had the chicken, the rooster. I had shown the picture of that pattern, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I got the Clydesdale at Hixie Soft online. And yesterday I ran into the calendar, which was with the first picture of hers in Cross Stitching, which is a British magazine that I used to subscribe to. Anyway, I am so enchanted by that bunny there. I think I might have to visit that bunny for a little while. And then I brought it and showed it to Deb, and you can only imagine which one she likes. I should get the bigger picture of,
Yes.
of that.
I was so excited because I think it's first. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Wait, and it's also right there.
Oh,
Love
okay.
it. He's so cute. There's Hank and baby Hank. What I was watching Java Girl Stitches, I think, and she showed one of these bothy patterns.
Okay.
And it was a cow, and it was a brown cow, and he was so cute though because he or she, I don't know, it's a he in my mind. He was sticking his tongue out. You know how Hank just loves to, he sees you and he wants to give you a cow kiss. And so I thought, oh, I could stitch that. I'd have to put more white on it to look like Hank. But then Liz brought this today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. Yes, so I've got to stitch that.
Yep.
So cute. Yeah, these are adorable. And that bunny is awesome.
And when did this come out? What year is that?
2017.
Okay, so
well,
it wasn't
September
that long ago.
2016 to December 2017.
Okay.
Oh gosh, that is too cute.
So I probably got it about 2 years, maybe even 3 years ago.
Yeah, that is adorable. I love that.
It was fun.
Love that cow. All right.
Have you got anything else?
Fiddle Jenny Stitches. She wanted to know where I take my things to get framed. In Strasbourg, I go to Mike at A Finishing Touch. He is right there on Main Street in Strasbourg.
And I put his information in the drop-down box on the last video.
Yeah, so if you live anywhere within driving distance, he's awesome. He is so fantastic with fabric. When we were there that day, when Tina and I arrived, it was so cool because he actually someone had just dropped off a very, very old antique original sampler.
Really?
It wasn't huge and it wasn't real detailed. It was 17 something, I can't remember what, but it was so cool, and he let us have the little magnifier and look at it.
I should take my piece.
It was all, he's very, very particular, very good. So that's
He'd
where
be a
we
good
go.
one then for me to take my great grandmother's hardhanger piece. Remember
Wait,
that
how many
one?
was that?
4. 4. Because we went back, my twin sister and I, we actually went back and she knew the names.
Oh, yeah?
And she sent them to me after I had done the video. She sent me the names back to the name of my grandmother
that is really
did
cool.
that one.
I would definitely, one time I walked in there and he had to show, he's like, oh, I got to show you something. And he did this shadow box. Someone who had Amish in their history, but they were no longer Amish. It was their great-grandmother's first, it was the clothing from her great-grandmother's first doll.
Oh, wow.
And this bonnet that was in there, and oh gosh, and the clothes, and he just arranged it so beautifully in the shadow box. It was gorgeous.
Wow.
I mean, it was just so cool. So he's really good.
I've been holding on to that thinking I wanted to get it framed, and people had suggested I have it cleaned, and we're recommending different things, and I'm still on the fence about that because I think it's a flax. I just have to check into it. But anyway.
Yeah, okay. And Suze, or it's S-U-Z, Lock, she wanted to know when we did the video and you did the demonstration about where to start stitching on linen, she wanted to know if we could go over that again. So what video was that we can send her to? Do you remember it was the last time we were in your craft room?
That would have been video 42, I think.
Okay.
All
right.
We'll check.
It was just a couple videos ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
it was the one, when you look back, the one that has the pin cushions as the picture on the video is the one that I demonstrated that on. So that should help you locate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also I wanted to mention, is she the one that had the trouble and the needle fell out?
No, that was somebody else.
Okay. What was her name?
Oh.
Do you remember?
No, I don't have it right now.
Well, one of the viewers left a comment about working really hard to find the center of linen.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's Diane.
Diane.
Myery.
Oh, that's Diane Myery,
Yeah.
not the one that talked about your farmhouse. She was talking about the needlework. That's sorry, Diane. Got that confused.
That was really cute. She's like, I spent 10 days trying to figure out what side and where to start my pattern on my linen so that it was centered and I could have enough to frame it. Finally figured it out, stuck my needle in my fabric, turned the fabric over, and the needle fell out.
Yes. I have.
And then she said, I had to do it all over again. I think I did it right. I hope I did it right. I'll have to let you know. And yes, I'm a new stitcher. That was so cute.
I have 2 suggestions for you, Diane. And forgive me, there were 2 people who asked about something, and one of them asked about the farmhouse scene, and the other one was about the linen, and I had them backwards. But on the linen, the way Deb and I do it is we put the edges of our linen lengthwise and widthwise together and give it a light crease with our fingers, find the center. From there, you can move 1 or 2 threads over or up and down if you've got a margin on the outside and it's not going to make a difference that
or
you're
3
not
or 4
exact.
now. It's good.
But I have a trick that I use because of that doggone needle falling out thing. I use a threaded needle. And I come up right through the hole that I'm going to start with.
I do too.
And I leave the thread there, even if it's just a small scrap. And then I can come right back to it and start my stitching. Or count from there to wherever I'm going to start. So I would try finding the center with the folding method and then put a little piece of thread on that needle and then just leave it behind. And you'll be good to go.
I do that too. I have thread on my needle also.
Yep.
Do you and I also, real quickly, mark the top. I have a highlighter, and I always put a highlight spot at the very, very top right-hand corner of my fabric. That's just what I always do. That way, I never orient it wrong, because I would definitely do that.
You mean like I did with my little chicken pin cushion? Last week we did that. Little happy accidents, and I turned it sideways.
Well, but that was just your stitching laid different. I'm talking about if
the design.
Then you really could get yourself...
Especially something geometric. Or
you could really get yourself in trouble. So I always highlight my spot immediately, too, because if I don't, and I think, oh, I'll remember.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Not me. Okay, that was our subscriber tribute.
I have one more comment, and then I'm done. Do you have any more comments?
Oh, go ahead. I might,
I did not make a long list of things for Nashville Market to be looking at or even allow myself to spend too much time. But one pattern Deb and I saw before market that I did buy, I just absolutely love, was by Kathy Barrick. It's called Needlework, and I just loved the colors and the Quaker design. I had to have that. So I'm anxious to work on that.
I sent her a picture right away, and we're like, oh, yes.
And my husband was funny. He called me today. He had just dropped me off over here at Deb's, and he said, you have a package. And he told me the name that it came from, and I'm thinking, what did I buy? I didn't even remember because I pre-ordered this before the before the Needlework Nashville Market. So he brought it over. That was nice of him.
We had a couple of people ask about how we get our fabric to stay tight on either our hoops or our Q-snaps.
A couple different ways.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll use my extra fabric and kind of roll it in and stick my...
She can get more under a Q-snap clamp than I have ever seen. I am so afraid I'm going to go, and it's going to go pop. She just...
Yeah. I do that, and then I also love to use the shelf lining. What's that called? The
shelf liner.
But it's not paper. It's just called shelf liner?
Contact. It's like a...
Okay.
It's the rubber type of shelf liner, not the paper contact paper, but that...
yeah, I should have got some to show you, but...
Well, I have a piece, but it's holding our gooseneck up.
Oh, yeah. But I'll cut strips of that, And that works really well also, to put that underneath your clamp.
We actually showed that in a video where we demonstrated the use of Q-snaps and frames, and we were talking about how Deb forms a pocket with her
Yeah, I'll do
folded
that
fabric,
too.
and she used those cushions under there. So
Yeah.
that was probably back in the 20s
I don't
in
know.
our videos.
But I like to make pockets too, because then I'll stick my highlighter in there or my extra threads in there. I stick everything.
I can just see me sticking a highlighter in there without closing
Oh
it
no,
first.
don't do that. Yeah, yeah, that's not
And a
good.
nice little red line
Yeah.
down the middle of my fabric.
Hey, that's supposed to be there. Yes.
Follow the line.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. All right.
So we have a lot going on with subscriber tribute today.
Mm-hmm.
We had a large response to our unclaimed freight from last week, and we have 8 winners of a stack of unclaimed freight,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll be sending that out over the next, I'm going to say next 10 days, because we've got to pull it together and get it all done, and you've got to contact us after you hear your name called
Mm-hmm.
with your address. So by the time that happens, it might be 10 days to 2 weeks till it's all out.
Yes. Yes. Do you want to read the names?
Sure, I will.
Our lucky winners.
And I will then put these in the drop-down box because it is quite a few names.
Mhm.
Congratulations to Peg Reynolds, Barbara Ingold, Terry Huber, Linda Allender, C as the letter C, and I believe it's Halle, Halle, Vicky Loyal, Judy Starkey, and the 1952 Trouble. Those are our winners,
Congrats.
and we hope you enjoy the selection that we put together and send you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, as our subscriber tribute winner today, we have Connie Poplin, and you will be getting a little motto basket by Hillside Samplings. This is the.
I like those.
I know, isn't that beautiful?
Yep. And they're such a good relevant
So pretty.
pattern for now with the bread
Mhm.
bowls and the or dough bowls, I
Dough
guess they're
bowls,
called
yeah.
dough bowls
Yeah.
and baskets that people are using.
I like that around the basket. That's beautiful.
Uh-huh.
So, Connie Poplin, thank you for being a subscriber also, and
Yes.
get a hold of us. Our emails, and you can contact me on Instagram. That's all listed in the drop-down section to get a hold of us.
And then we have one last item of business with regard to subscriber tribute, and that is that we're going to be doing something for next week.
Mhm.
We're going to be giving away a goodie bag.
Mm-hmm. We've had some lovely charts given to us to pass along to you. So,
And it may not just be charts. We're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
have anything from floss, gadgets, fabric. It'll just be a grab bag of fun.
yeah. Isn't it fun? Do you remember going in the stores?
Yes.
And up by the counter at certain stores? I could never say no to a grab bag.
I know.
I love grab bags. Love them.
I do
it's
too.
So much fun. So,
And there's a couple of online stores that have grab bags, and I haven't told you about that, have I? I try to stay away from
yeah,
those.
I know, but they are fun. I love grab bags.
So we'll be doing that, and all we need to hear from you, be a
3.
subscriber, and be sure to put grab bag in the comment, and then
hit the like button.
Hit the like button.
So, 3 things and you're in.
Yep, in like Flynn. So
Yes.
that concludes our
Yes.
subscriber tribute.
Yes, and thank you very much. All right. We did have another. This was actually a comment that I forgot to mention in the last video. Stitching Mom of 2 Monsters.
Yes, I saw that.
She wanted to know if we ever did a Quaker ball, and if so, could we show it or recommend a pattern? We have not, but we have seen them, and down at Salty Yarns we saw them in the showcase, and oh my goodness, are they gorgeous.
Yep.
Gorgeous. But no, we have not done one yet.
Yep. So if you do, send us a picture of it when you're done.
Yeah,
It'd be fun to
Yeah.
share.
yeah. They are really pretty. Very pretty. All right, what's up next?
We have a new segment. Spotlight. And today's spotlight is going to be a guild, Delaware Valley Historic Sampler Guild, of which we happen to be members.
Yes, that's right.
And so what we're going to do, we've just gotten, go forward.
Go forward.
There you go. we've just gotten to pass our first year in
Yes.
our video creations. And during that time, we've come to know our viewers. We've come to know more about what we like as we talk to you. And one of the things that's really important to both Deb and I is our guild association. So we're going to take the time to spotlight a guild each video. And we'll be looking at them nationally, internationally. We have a list we're working from, and we'll also be open to hearing from our viewers. If you live in an area that you can't find somebody to stitch with, or you're looking to join a guild, tell us and let us know where you live. And if you happen to be on the leadership team of a guild, and you'd like us to highlight your guild in one of our spotlights,
get a hold of us.
send us an email and give us the information we need to contact you.
Yeah, we'd be happy to, because we have so many people that, I think so many people want something like that.
Yes.
You know?
And you're about to hear how much enjoyment we have and see some of the things we've been doing. We've been members now going on, this is our 6th year.
Is it? I was going to say
think so.
5, but it's probably.
I think we're in our 6th.
Okay, all right. Yep.
So, our guild was founded in 2000. We're going to celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Soon, yep. Yep. So again, it's the Delaware Valley Historic Sampler Guild.
And what do we pay for dues?
Dues are $25.
And that's annual.
And yep, that's annual.
Our meetings are held monthly. They're the second Saturday of the month, and they meet from 10 to 12. That's the formal business meeting. People kind of get there a little early and chit-chat, and then a group of ladies go to lunch afterwards, and that's a nice time, too.
That's right, yep. We have annual projects. Lots of different things like stitch-alongs. Sometimes designers will come in and design something specifically for our guild. So that's a lot of fun.
You want to show? Yeah. Deb's going to show one that they did a couple years after we joined.
So this is by the Purple Thread, and this is called the Girls at the Guild. This is the design. Very, very pretty. And you were allowed to pick whatever fabric, whatever count, and whatever thread you wanted to use. And the really cool thing is, there goes that, no one's looked
They were all different.
It was so cool. Yeah.
And this pattern was done by Sharon for us at the guild. And she, the saying that's in there, she did for us too.
Be true to your work, your word, and your friend. Yeah, very cool. Now I'm going to show you mine. I love the frame that it's framed in, but unfortunately I screwed up and didn't take it to Mike. So it was not framed well.
It was a lesson learned, right?
Yes. Don't do that again. They framed it way too close. But anyway, I love the stitching, and I love the fabric that I chose, and the thread. This was a silk thread that was variegated. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was a dinky dye color. So this was a lot of fun. You could work at your own pace.
And you did the whole thing in just that color?
Yeah, that is one color, silk. That's it.
So what did you do? Cut out the green when you did the letters? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So that's it. It's so pretty though, because there's a few different stitches in it, and I don't know. I just thought that was so pretty.
It's
that
really
she
pretty.
designed that. But
yep. And we did it throughout the year. It was our year project, and we did it a couple of rows at a time, like a band sampler. And they gave us the schedule of what we were going to be stitching, and then everybody that wanted to brought in their piece, and we all compared.
Yep. And this is 40 count. It was a piece. I don't remember what the linen was.
You did yours on 40?
This is 40.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So that was really fun.
And we had another project that was done the year before we arrived, and we were sitting at the table during one meeting, and one of our guild members, Debbie, she was just finishing a piece that she did, and she showed it not long after that. It's a needle roll, and it's Quaker, obviously. It was designed by Catherine Throne, and that's the inside of the roll and then the outside. And I fell in love with it. It's DMC colors. It's just a real pretty palette.
That is so cute. Anything Quaker speaks to us.
Yes. And this was the her company is Theron Traditions. She's taught class for us, and so when I saw this, I asked when it was done, and it was done the year before we joined. So I called Catherine and asked her about it, and she had an extra kit.
That's nice.
So I have it that I can stitch it as well.
Very pretty.
Yep, I was very excited with that. So those are the types of things that we've done, and then at the holiday in December, they do an exchange of ornaments, or not really ornaments.
No.
Excuse me, it's tools, stitching tools, or things you use. A lot of people do them in sort of a Christmas ornament fashion, or they do it just completely different and not holiday at all.
No.
And the variety is incredible.
Oh, amazing.
Some people do entire stitching kits. Some people do pin cushions. We've had beaded pieces.
Yeah.
Every year it's a completely different selection.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Pieces.
That's a good time. Yes.
Our guild name kind of gives away its focus by saying Historic Sampler Guild.
And I think that's what makes our guild unique.
Yeah.
You know, to really focus a lot on the preservation of historic samplers, learning about them.
Our guild financially supports some of the museum efforts at restoring and preserving. And we have a designer that's a member of our guild, Patty Yergi.
Yep.
We got to go visit her house.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing.
That was in the fall, right?
Yes, we were down at Salty Yarns.
Yeah. And we get to see all the different ones that she had reproduced and do a little shopping.
And her originals. They were, oh gosh, gorgeous. Yes.
They were. So that's a little taste of what's going on in Hockessin, Delaware, the second Saturday of every month.
Yeah.
And if you're in the area, we have people, we go about, 50 minutes?
Yeah, it takes us a good hour to get there.
An hour?
It does,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's around 40 miles?
I don't know.
I'd have to look it up. But we have people who come from about that far, maybe even a little farther on a regular basis.
And you can always come for a meeting and then decide to join. You know, definitely come.
I think our bylaws say you can come for 3 meetings before you have to make a decision.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, so just come as a guest and see if you want to stay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful.
And be sure to send your comments if you want to know more about guilds or if you're on one.
Yes.
Let us hear from you by email.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Now, what have you been working on?
Oh, why don't you show your works real quick?
Okay.
Is that all right?
I only have one thing I've been working on.
Okay.
I've been working on my band sampler.
Ooh.
And I've not finished this week, so I'm going to work on that tonight. But I finished week 1 and 2, 3. Actually, I misspoke. I have 3 and 4 to finish. Because I realized 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I just finished working on the outside frame of that little motif that goes in here. And then I have the alphabet to put down here. Deb's got hers. Yours is pretty well done, right?
No, I wish. I did not get a lot of time to stitch this week. I thought I was going to, and I did not. So, what did you?
I didn't finish my motif on week 3.
Okay.
You've got yours done.
Okay.
Here,
So
we can do that together, and then they can see what I'm missing.
Oh wait, let me put my pin in.
Want to see what I'm missing?
All right. So yes, week 3 is going to be 4. This is week 4. The alphabet in this block here, and then it's going to continue down this side here. So
And I have week 3 to finish there too.
So I did not. I thought I took it with me to work yesterday because I thought I was going to have some time, when I got a break, and then I didn't get a break, so I did not.
And then just as a continuation on our discussion about the guild, this is this year's Stitch Along project that we're doing through iStitch Designs. And there is a designer in our guild that we're going to be interviewing, not in our spotlight, but as a separate episode. And we'll give you a little heads up. She just recently had some new pieces at the Nashville market, and she's branching out. She's been requested at several guilds to do specific pieces to commemorate their guilds. Her name is Teresa Baird, and her designing name is Heart's Ease Exemplary. And it's just
her designs are unbelievable.
breathtaking.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Oh,
And I believe early on we showed a couple of her patterns. That would be back in maybe the first 6 videos when we were going through some of our unique patterns that we had.
Yeah.
So watch for her in the future too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I forgot, we did have a comment. Someone wants to know my colors I'm using on my band sampler. Again, they're silks, and they are silk in color. And I'm using Madeline's Locks, Chocolate Caramel, Tuscan Olive, Apples and Oak Leaves, and Spanish Moss. All silk.
I'll put those in the drop down box because I think we did talk about those the very first video when we showed both of them.
I always showed my thread, but I never actually said the names.
Okay.
You've said your names, but I didn't.
So I'll put those in there.
Yeah.
And we'll have them down there for people
those
to
are the
reference.
colors I'm using.
All right. Make a note of that.
All right.
Now
and
those,
my work. Yes.
Go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So I did a little bit of work on that, and then I got back out my Jenny Bean sampler, Friendship Sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. Got that back out, and did a little bit more work on the house there. Forgot to get my paper. I won't take out my hoop, but I also put my initials over here, and I stuck in the date here. That's over 1. Those are couple of the changes I made. What? That means I have to.
I'm not putting the date in before I finish it.
I am now. I'm like, you know what? Now I am locked in.
How
Darn
many
it.
years I would restitch that date on some of my samplers? Yes, began in 2003.
Well, hey, there you go. You could say, okay, well, I began then. I finished it here at this date.
Oh, that would be me.
Oh, and I did get some more work done on my Dimensions farm scene. Of course, I have to stitch this. It's so pretty. This is a hard one for me to put down. So I got, it might not look like I did a lot of stitching, but I did all of the back stitching for the farmhouse, the main farmhouse. And
when you're doing that over 40, that's a lot of back stitching.
yeah, it's a lot of back stitching. I like back stitching though. So I got all my back stitching done for the farmhouse, and I put in my little sheep. On the pattern, it only calls for 2 sheep, but I went ahead and stuck in 3. And I also had a bunch of comments on Instagram that said, and I agree, they want me to add Hank somewhere on there. And I thought, oh, good idea.
That would be neat.
He's got to be in the farm. You're right. So over here, where there's 3 more sheep over here, I'm not going to put the sheep there. I'm going to go ahead and stick Hank over here by the barn. So that was very, very, very good idea. I got to have Hank.
Too bad you don't have a fence, and you could use that other pattern and work his little head with the other one in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hank appearance.
All right. Those were my works.
All right.
Oh, I wanted to say too, so it's over 40 count on this, and on the pattern, if you were stitching it on the called for fabric, they had a lot of places where you would combine a few different colors.
A lot of
like,
tweeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously I can't do that. So when we were at Salty Yarns over Super Bowl weekend, I chose some over-dyed threads that had the same kind of colors in the threads that pretty much what they were calling for. And what I do is, instead of just using that thread, how we always use variegated thread, is just opened out, you know, and stitch so that the color kind of changes gradually. I will loop that and loop my variegated thread so that then I get all those colors in there, and I think it looks beautiful. I think it's, you know, doing a great job. And yes, that means that I'm stitching with sometimes 2 threads on this 40 count, sometimes it's 1 thread, and it looks beautiful. I know some people say that it's a faux pas. Don't do that, but
oh, no.
I think it honestly depends on your linen. And for some reason, this linen is, I think it looks perfect. It does not look like it's distorted. It has not changed the linen at all. So it looks great, and it is 40 count white, and it's Newcastle linen. So
When I did the Grandma's Heart with Beth Seal,
yeah,
she was threading a needle, and that used 2 threads, and she used the loop method, and there were 3 or 4 people watching her. And they said exactly that. You're using the loop method on your thread. Aren't you going to use 2 strands so that they match? She said, nope. She said, because as far as I'm concerned, this gives a different look to a variegated thread, and I like it.
It
and I
does.
don't ever go the other way. I always loop it and stitch just like I would with my DMC straight floss.
Okay, well.
So, you know, it's not just it's not a faux pas. It's an intentional thing now. So everybody's doing it.
Yeah, well. Yeah, it does. It looks very pretty. So I'm happy with the way it's coming out. That's for sure.
Yep. I like it too.
Thank you.
Very pretty.
All right.
I had a finish. I mentioned I broke 2 needles.
Yes.
That's because I was putting the bottom on Bunny.
Oh.
You might remember when I finished this hair sampler by Lottie Da. Well, now he's not by himself anymore.
He's got a friend.
This is the first one I stitched, actually.
You know how bunnies multiply.
This is Sweet Pea, that's right. So Sweet Pea now has the hair sampler as a partner. And I did finish them both with the same fabric. But they did have a little bit different size and dimension to the bodies on the pattern to accommodate the flowers. So that's kind of neat that they're not completely identical.
Cool.
And I learned a little bit in the finishing on this one and this one. I did, with this one, I think I overstuffed just a bit, which I know Vanna would not think that's possible. But when it came to it actually causing a little bit of a bulge in the bottom, it doesn't sit crooked, but I just know it's there. So with this one, I made sure that I got it pretty well flush with the bottom there. So I like them.
Yeah.
And it's just the right time of year to get them both knocked out.
Yeah.
So I'll get them out in the house for the springtime. That'd be fun.
Very cool.
We talked not too long ago about doing an in-between. And we were talking about doing a peyote in-between. And I think what we're going to do with that design is do one of my geometric designs, so it's simple. So it'll be 2 colors, and I will let you know on this video what I'm going to choose for colors and show you the design that I made for myself. And then you can pull together whatever colors you want, and we'll get that video done. But in preparation for that, I thought it might be fun on Gadget Corner today to look at different ways of storing your beads. Not like I might have tried more than one. This one goes back quite a ways. I honestly don't even remember when I bought it, but it's by Eagle, and it's sort of a dial-a-bead. It reminds me of the vitamin dispenser my mom used to have. She was with Shackley. They had a supplement and vitamin for everything. And she put them in this big bottle and then just turned them and dumped them out every morning. But this, you just open it to the opening for that particular tube, and then you can get your beads out. The beads I use for peyote are very small, delicate beads, so I don't use this for those. But these are great for larger beads, for fobs and things like that. Then there's a Just Nan. I think she calls this a bead hive, if I remember right. But it is by Just Nan. And these little bead boxes have slides on them, and they slide on and hook to each other. And these are just about the right size for a container of peyote delica beads. And you can just attach all the ones that go to a particular project and have them with you. They're nice. And the top, when you get that open, the top slides off and the box is exposed. So it's not a flip top. It slides out, and it does have a stop on the back, so you can't slide it through.
That would not be good.
Oh, that would be me. How many ways can you drop a box of beads? I know. I've done it. This actually is one of my favorites. When I first started stitching, I had some projects that used seed beads, Mill Hill seed beads, and I found this in a shop that's no longer in business in Lancaster. And it's made by Access Commodities, and they're little tubes, and they all nest together. There's, believe it or not, 18 in this box.
Wow.
And you just put your beads in them and stack them up.
That's cool.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I have 2 of these, and I'll put them together for a project.
That would come in really handy for that ornaments all around. You know, with all the different color beads in there.
Yes, yes. In fact, I think they might even... They've got to be close to 18 colors,
Yeah.
if
there's a
not
lot.
more. Anyway, so this is one I'm partial to.
There's a lot. I don't remember how many, but
And then you've got something you're using.
mine are Craftmate containers. This is one
I love these
style.
things.
I have some little seed beads in
Almost because they're like Liz proof.
here. Yeah. And this is one of the larger ones. And these nest on top each other. But what's really cool is you have to push in this little lock, this little lever over here, and then open up whichever compartment you want to open up. And when you let go of this, it locks all the others. So if you would drop this or spill it, the only thing that you're going to get beads out of is the one you have open. And then you shut it, and everybody's locked again. Same thing with this. You have the little lever on the side, and you just push that in, and it'll release whichever one you want to open. And when you let it go, it locks everybody back up. So these are great by Craftmate. And they all nest right on top of each other.
And they're in Braille.
And they're in Braille.
Yeah, did you not notice?
Oh, yeah.
All your tops have a Braille. I
Yeah.
think they're Braille numbers is what they are, so you can tell. But I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
really
first craft device like that I've noticed had a Braille
Really neat, yeah.
attachment to it.
Yeah. Yeah, what about that other, I forgot that other tray, remember? You bought me that one time for Christmas, remember our,
Oh, yes.
yeah. I thought
Yep.
maybe you'd bring that. No?
No, I brought two
Okay.
more items, though. This one is made by Darris, and it holds 24 containers of beads.
Let's see if I can find it.
These are all accumulated as I expanded my beading system and what I was working on. So this one, you can load your bead colors by box, and these are nice. You can see the color any way you look at it. And the top is very small, but quite a few will come out of that little hole if they're small beads. So you can get 24 of them in there.
All
And
right.
at one point I had, I think, 4 of these, and then I went beyond that with my mill hill, so I had to expand my system.
Yeah, and I did find the other one.
Yes.
Do you want to explain that real quick?
All right. This is
I will
where
be right
I am.
back.
This is where I am now. This is the bead organization storage system. It's called Bead Storage Solutions. It originally was done by a woman, Elizabeth Ward, and I'm going to take the labels out so you can see how they're stored. This is how I now have all my Mill Hill beads and my Delica beads. And the nice thing is you can get them with these individual boxes for the particular bead that you're using or the color you're storing. And then you get, I believe it's 82 of these boxes to a tray. But if you have larger numbers of one particular bead, you can then get boxes that are double this size. Some of them fill an entire column, some of them fill half the column. So I use these to store my larger beads, sometimes for my fobs. I make beaded fobs that aren't made with Delica beads. And then I have trays of these that store my Delica beads. So this is an awesome system. Now this is by far the most expensive of the systems. They're about $40 per tray, depending on which configuration you get inside. So I make sure I have a Joann's
I was
coupon.
going to say, yeah.
And Deb and I will fly by Joann's or AC Moore because they honor each other's coupons, and we'll use our 40% or 50% off, whichever one we're happy to get. I think I didn't bring it because it's so heavy and awkward, so I was
Yeah.
hoping you had yours. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I did not load mine yet, so
And,
good to go.
And then the last one, this was one that I actually had originally. I had bought a kit from Mill Hill, and it had, maybe a dozen beads. They were the perforated paper kits. And I was looking for a storage system. And these are made by Lowran, and they're just little cups with lids on them.
Oh, okay.
And you just put your beads in it.
I was thinking the whole cup came out.
Yep, nope. It's just
Cool.
a tray.
Mm-hmm.
And it is nice if you want to keep them with a project. This is very flat and easy, and you don't have them running all over the place on the table.
Yeah.
And they make a larger size that's not quite twice as many.
Cool.
It's actually 3, 6, 9, 12. This is 15, and this one's, what's this, 6. So actually it's a little, almost 3 times, now that I think about it.
This
So,
is 13 in it.
oh, is
that
it
one half?
13? Was I counting backwards?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13.
Okay, all right. So it's almost a little over 10.
Yeah.
Anyway, these are not nearly as expensive as that Elizabeth Darris or Elizabeth Ward, and I think Darris now sells those. Anyway, so lots of options depending on where you are in your beading.
So people are supposed to be picking their colors now?
I'm going to show the pattern and let them know the size of the bead and the details before you have to run out and do that.
Oh, so not today.
Not today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said today.
No.
I got that wrong.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That'll be after I pick the design and make sure that I have it for you to see, and then we'll go on with the peyote.
Okay. And you'll probably do that in April,
tutorial.
right?
Yeah, we'll air that in April.
Okay.
So that's not that far away.
Nope.
It's around the corner.
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy that almost 3 months, almost 3 months of this year is finished.
I know.
We're in the middle of March.
I know. And
That's
I can't
crazy.
believe winter's over already.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad.
Well,
it is so warm today. It's beautiful.
It
Oh my
is.
goodness. And
62
tomorrow.
degrees. I didn't even grab my
Oh,
jacket
that's
coming out
so
the door.
nice. Yeah, I love
But
it.
I've been getting information and texts and things from people in the Midwest, and they're actually having a bit warmer time of it in the last couple of weeks with
Oh, well,
some of their
good.
weather than we have. So
I
it's
hope
like,
it's starting to melt
Yeah.
for them. Good. Good.
So,
Good.
We'd like to thank you for joining us today. And
Thank you very much.
thank you to all the other Flosstube channels and the local needlework stores and the web shops, everybody that helps to contribute to make our hobby that much more fun.
Or obsession. Whatever.
Or illness. And as always, share the joy of needlework. Bye-bye.
See ya.